All right, y'all. So in this video, we're gonna go over the top banks to actually build your wealth with, right? Bank number one, this is the absolute biggest bank in the U.S. It's Chase Bank, right? Chase Bank, I say, is number one, and this is why I say it's number one. They have specific rules set in place. It's called the 524 rule, right? I want y'all to write that down. Chase has a rule called the 524 rule, meaning if you have more than 5 cards within a 24-month time frame before going to Chase, it's an automatic denial. This is the rule that they have in place. Now, I have spoken to different bank branch managers, and they said, listen, that rule is bogus. We work with you as much as we can, but that's all in the relationship. And we're going to go over relationship in the next video, right? So Chase is number one. Definitely get a card with Chase or get an account with Chase. If you don't have one already, if you have a business, use the EIN, open up a business account, and get a personal also because you're going to need to utilize them, right? Number two is Amex. American Express is one of the largest banks in the U.S. They have some of the best transfer points, some of the best benefits, the reward points, the cash back. Amex is known for that. The richest and the wealthiest are the wealthiest people. They deal with Amex, right? So Amex Chase is going to be your number one, number two, right? Amex, you have to go online to deal with them because I haven't seen an actual branch in person just yet, right? Same with Citibank, but at the same time, Citibank, I've actually seen they have a physical location in Miami, but you can get a Citibank anywhere, right? Anyways, let's keep going. Navy Federal. Navy Federal is the number one credit union in the U.S., meaning they hold the most assets, right? They have the most capital. They can withstand if people default on their loans. They can hold up. Navy Federal, they're associated with the Navy, right? With the actual Army. But in order to get inside Navy Federal, you're going to need to know someone who is a vet or know someone who already has a Navy Federal account. You're going to have to talk to that person and have them send you a link to actually get inside of here. So you need to be affiliation. You need to have some sort of affiliation to get inside Navy Federal. Now, mind you, Navy Federal has been utilized a lot. If you guys are dealing with credit right now, I'm sure you've probably seen multiple videos or seen people talking about Navy Federal. Well, the stories you hear are true to a certain extent, right? Navy Federal does give out a lot of money, and they are more relationship based. So the more products you have with them, and we'll go over an entire Navy Federal video so you guys understand a little more what I'm talking about. But the more products and the better your relationship is with them, the more money that they will gladly give you on the business and personal side. All right. Number four would be Truist. Truist, because Truist is one of the biggest banks also, and Truist actually gives out money. They give you a line of credit up to $50,000 with zero documentation, meaning when you hear things like no doc, I want y'all to write this down also. Anytime you hear anything that's considered no doc, is they're not going to ask you for tax returns, they're not going to ask you for financial statements, nor are they going to ask you for W-2s or any proof that you do what you put on the application, right? So let's say you put that you made $1 million on the application, right? Don't be too dramatic, of course. If the company is a few years old, it might be possible, but if it's for a 1 year old, $1 million, you got to be realistic with the numbers sometimes, guys. I'm not saying realistic meaning it can't happen, but realistic meaning you want them. These are employees that are checking your stuff. Underwriters that check your stuff, they're employees. So they want to see numbers that make sense. They say 250, 350,000, and you put it on there and you say you make for your regular income 200,000, that's believable. They won't ask for any documentations depending on if your credit score is right, right? Number five would be BOA. Bank of America. Bank of America is one of the largest banks up there with Chase also. Bank of America has a nice bag as well. They got some rules in place also. And again, we'll go over more of these in different videos. But just so you guys see who it is that you should be partnering with, all of these right here I recommend for sure. For sure, right? Building a relationship with them. Now, there's 3 ways to build a relationship. And we'll go over that. Honestly, we'll go over that in another video also. But you're going to see that. Now, here's what I recommend. Of course, there's a few ways that you can, contact other banks in your area. But I also recommend to partner. And again, this is mainly for people that are brand new with credit, that don't have the Chases, Bank of Americas, TD Banks, Truist Banks on your credit profile just yet. There's one of a few ways. You can go on Google Maps, right? If you literally go on Google Maps, let's actually pull it up. I don't like to talk fluff, all right? I'm going to show you guys what's going on. So if I go to my Google Maps, I can just Google. Hopefully you guys can see this. Credit unions near me. This is a strategy that I use also. They'll pop up multiple credit unions. What? Mid-Florida, Navy Federal, right? Suncoast, McCoy Federal, McCoy, Wells, right? Orlando Credit Union, Partners Federal Credit Union. You can pull up multiple credit unions in your area if you go on to Google and just type in credit unions near me. Or what I like to use is bankbranchlocator.com. This shows you the best banks in your area also. We're going to go over another video, of course, how to really navigate through the website. And then ibank.net, ibanknet.com is another very, very resourceful source that you can go on to see the bank's financials. So typically we go on there and you look up just credit unions, Navy Federal is going to pop up first. If you go on there and look up big banks, Chase is going to pop up first. It's just showing you how much assets that they hold versus other banks. And the banks that hold the most assets, that have the most money, give out the most money. They lend out the most money. Let me stop saying give. They lend out. Banks have to lend the money, charge the interest, right, and make money that way. But banks are very relationship based, right? They want to see you doing business. It shows that you're a credible person in society, right? But once you either go on Google and look up the banks near you or bankbranchlocator.com or ibanknet.com, there's one or three ways that you need to find out about their products, right? Remember, you always want to know, who do you pull from? What are the requirements for getting an account with you? And what are the requirements for getting approved for a business credit card and a personal credit card? I'm going to say that again, right? What are the requirements for getting an account with you? Who do you pull from? What bureau? Do you pull from TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian, right? Then, what are the requirements for getting a business credit card or business line of credit? What are the requirements for getting a personal credit card, right? You want to know these things. You got to ask the question. So you're in here because you're trying to learn the financial literacy, build up your financial status. There's nothing that feels better than when you can walk into a bank and you already know the criteria. You already know your profile is at a 785 credit score. You already know your profile is 10 years plus. You already know you got credit cards on there, $5,000 plus. You're keeping the utilization low. When you walk into that bank, you already know you're going to get approved for $30,000 to $50,000 walking out the bank. Guys, this is non-performance income. You did not physically work for the money. You mentally know, and you're doing it with a strategy on going into the banks and knowing what to do. Right? That's why it's so important to be in here, of course. Right? But there's three ways, of course, I recommend finding the information. Way number one, being a person, going into the actual bank, the branch. And please don't talk about me, of course, right? My handwriting's not the best, but be one of those individuals that go into the bank, sit down with them, because this is the one way to actually build a relationship. The more they see you, the more you're saying, hey, hello, talking to them about their day, asking about their family, things like that. Guys, bankers will push things through in your favor just because you build a relationship with them, a physical and personal relationship. And I'm actually going to go over that in one of the next videos also, how to build relationships with them, right? Number two would be cell phone. Give them a call. So out of these 10 banks, you can either go into the bank, which I recommend first is go into them, and or give them a call. Now, I say this because, again, when you see them in person, you feel much different when you sit down with multiple bankers from multiple banks in person. Because now you get to understand the atmosphere of the bank. You get to learn more about the bank. The banker can physically see you. Remember to go in there nicely dressed. If you're a couple, I recommend going in with your wife or your husband, or going in there with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, right? And make sure you guys are looking up to par. Business casual. I say that because the more you look good, right, and physical appearance, and the more good you sound in your head or in verbally, the more of an impression that you're making on them. And you walk out the bank, babe, did you know that? I know the interest rate was like that. I did this with my wife, guys. I took her to 10 banks within one day. Took me about 3-4 hours, of course. But nothing felt better because she got to learn I got to learn. The bankers got to know who I was. And then the banks that I decided to actually build a relationship with, they knew me from the jump, coming in with my wife in the beginning. So you're leaving an impact. Remember, first impressions are going to last forever, right? So that's why I recommend going in person. But you can give them a call on the phone. Also, ask the same questions on the phone as well. You can get your answers on the phone. Sometimes when they don't see you in person, you might, the tone may be a little different or whatever. But that's why I recommend going in the banks. But if you don't have time to, this is not, I'm telling you right now, if you do not have time to, do not push back your date and say, you know what, I want to go into the banks these days, Sarah. Listen, build you a list of 10 to 20 banks. Bankbranchlocator.com will allow you to get more than 20 banks on a spreadsheet. You put the banks on the spreadsheet. Some banks you may want to go inside, but don't let that stop you from calling, because you need to learn. You need to learn now. Actually, I recommend once this video is over, give them a call. You know what to ask for. You know what to write down. Put them in your notes in your phone or somewhere that's close so you know what's going on. And number 3 is website. You can just go online and look up, what it is that they do. You can look online, hey, who does Truist pull from in this area? Who does Experian pull from in this area? Yes, you can do that. I always recommend to confirm. I am a confirming individual. My wife sometimes she's annoyed by it because I love to confirm so much. If you don't confirm with me, or if I don't confirm, sometimes it's not, for me, it's not enough. I can hear something one time. Just because I heard it once doesn't mean I go with it. I got to hear it a few different times. Some of the stuff I'm telling you, I always recommend that you look it up also. Well, you're not going to always be able to look up everything, because this is all stuff that's in here, stuff I've learned over the years also. But certain things you might be able to look up, and I recommend actually doing your due diligence as well. So hopefully this made sense to you guys. These are the types of banks to build with. These are the resources to use to actually build the banks, right? Y'all, let's continue building wealth. Remember to make sure you make it on to the next video. I don't care what you got going on, if you're on vacation, if you're in the car on a road trip, make sure you're taking notes and you're playing these videos, because they're going to do nothing. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Nothing but build wealth and bring a lot of prosperity to you and your family. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video. Talk to you soon.